Hi, my name is Jan, and I wanted to talk about clinical rotations and clinical shifts and give some tips and suggestions regarding clinicals. Before I start, I wanted to just address some questions that I got in the comment section from Hannah Lee's Brain. She asked, when are you assigned your clinical patients? So for this, it really depends on the clinical instructor. But from my experience for the very first med search clinical, we were actually told to go into the unit the day before and pick a patient and go through the chart and do some research. That way we are prepared for the clinical day. Excuse me. So this, I guess the instructors are like, I guess the school was trying to be considerate of us, but sometimes it would be really difficult because we wanted to choose a patient who would still be there the next morning and not be discharged, right? And we never know. So we had to go through the list of the patients in the unit the day before, like go during the afternoon hours and find a computer and pick some patients and ask the nurses, like, do you think this patient's gonna be here tomorrow? And do all of that. And some of my colleagues, actually, their patient was gone the next morning. They came back, they went back, and it threw them off for the whole day, and they had to find a new patient and do a whole new research on them and look up all the meds and all the conditions. So it like there were pros and cons about that, but yeah, for the very first med search clinical, we got to choose. We were assigning patient. We only had one patient, honestly, so we assigned ourselves for we assigned patients for ourselves. But I feel like I don't remember exactly when, but I think it was second semester and on, like we were given a patient. So yeah, you're usually assigned in the morning because that's the goal, right? They want to make sure that they prepare you to be like an actual nurse, and nurses find out their assignment the morning they come. So, or the night they come with their night shifts. So, like as you progress in the program, in the nursing program, you will be assigned the day of clinical, the same morning. And you will have to do some research and listen to the report from the night shift nurse. And yeah. And your other question, Hannah, was how frequently did clinical start early, like 7 a.m.? So usually I would say 6 a.m. because 7 a.m. is when you need to be there with your nurse that you're assigned to. I mean, you have to be, let me change my wording. You have to be there with the nurse assigned to your patient, right? So you want to listen to the report given by the night shift nurse. So you want to be there at 7 a.m. because usually it starts around 7 a.m. Yeah, so you want to be there at 7, so you have to be there before 7. So I would say 6 a.m. is when we would, some instructors would meet us at the parking lot of LATTC. Because in my case, I went to California Hospital, which is like down the street, and we will walk together. But I don't know about now. Yeah, so 6 a.m. and how many hours is a clinical shift? So it's supposed to be like around 12, right? But I think we had 108 hours in all the med search clinicals, and let me see, 81 hours for pediatrics, women's health, and psych. So for med search, it would be like from 6 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. And you go for post-conference always at the end of your clinical shift. So around 4:30, 5, your clinical instructor will call you, let you know, hey, we're gonna have post-conference, meet everyone here at this location at this time. So you always end the shift with post-conference, which is you discuss what you learn, address any problems, issues you came across, ask questions to your instructor, just basically debrief, like talk about what you saw today. Yeah, so I guess usually 11 hours. It's supposed to be like 12 hours-ish. Really depends on your instructor. Um, FYI, I have a LinkedIn page. You can just look up my name, Jam Kim, or I will also put the URL in the description box below. If you go under the education section, under LATTC, I listed out all my clinical hours, the class name, hours, clinical site, unit, and all that. So if you want to take a look at where I had my clinical, you can check it out. Um, yeah, so I think that answers all your questions, Hannah. Hopefully, it was helpful. And I just wanted to end the video with three tips or three suggestions for clinical because it really helped me in my when I was in nursing school. So the first one is always have a pen or paper or notebook. I would say notebook because later on when you're interviewing for jobs or when you're writing, personal statement or like, when you need to write about your clinical experiences, then you need something to refer to, right? Because your memory, unless you have like perfect memory, you always remember everything. I'm not like that, so I needed a notebook. So actually, what I did was I would just get a paper like this, fold it in half, and like write down like all the info here, and it goes to the trash like eventually, right? Because I don't have it all like organized. So I would suggest getting a little notebook like this so that every time you go to clinical, you can actually write down the clinical date, site, the hours, like the time that you were there, um, and then also maybe your nurse's name because in nursing, networking is like huge, right? So, so I actually have like, I would say three phone numbers from clinical um, rotation. Three nurses gave me their phone numbers. Like I asked them and they were willing to give it to me. So yeah, like you can write down maybe your nurse's name, um, any information that would be handy for you later on when you forget. And then maybe you can write down like what you learned, all your experiences, like anything new you observed or you experienced. And maybe on the bottom, you can write down anything that you want to go home and research on, anything you want to study more, like anything that you were confused about, you can write it down in because, anything that you're not sure of, or like you are weak on, it's gonna come back to you eventually, right? And you always want to be prepared. So you can do that. I think that's how I would, structure my clinical notebook. And if you're a tech person, then you can maybe take that home when you get home, transfer all that to Google Drive, your Word document, or anything like that. Second one is I would suggest having like a tote bag or canvas bag like this, where you can like designate a tote or like or a bag for a clinical because oh, you never want to forget your stethoscope, um, like your equipments, your pens, pencils, your notebook. Like if you forget these things, it's gonna be hard for you that day, right? And one day, like one time I forgot my stethoscope and we always need them to do assessments and I had to go to my colleague every time, to borrow them. And it was such a hassle for me. And also like I'm interrupting my colleague. So I really felt bad. So just have a bag or tote or whatever you carry your stuff in, have that for your clinical and set it at the corner of your room. That way, the night before, you can always, know that it's all there and put your stethoscope in there. I just hit myself. Stethoscope, your badge, my student badge from LATTC, I still have it. I believe they require you to have this secondhand watch. I think that's what's called. And yeah, just have this badge with you because you always need it, right? And honestly, I didn't really use this too much because I would sometimes just use the clock in the room, or they let me have our Apple Watch, so I would just do it with my Apple Watch. It was better, easier for me, but anyways, back to the story. This stethoscope, like your notebook, pen, Sharpie, highlighter, um, I forget what other things. Oh, this fanny pack, like yeah, all these things have it in your bag. That way you can just, you know, like what to take the morning of. And um yeah, just I think the third one was um yeah, prepare a fanny pack like this. I never had a fanny pack before I started nursing school because I thought it was for grandpas and grandmas. But this comes in so handy in nursing school. Trust me, your clinical life is going to be so different. You're going to see all these nurses with the fanny pack, and those are the ones that are prepared. So, this was from Amazon. I really like this one because it has a lot of pockets. It's big, spacious, and it has pocket in the back where I could put my card key, my wallet, because you never want to leave those things in the lounge, right? People are gonna steal it. In this pocket, I have a smaller pocket. I would put all my writing utensil in there, Sharpie, highlighter, pens. And then here in this big pocket, because we had to do glucose checks, right, as students. So I would put all this stuff when I get to the unit in the morning, prepare myself with all the material, all the like Band-Aid, the gauze, lancets, the alcohol swab, all those things, I would put it in here. Um, and also, what is it called? Flush. Yeah, IV for the flush. You always have those ready. Tape. Yeah, things like that. I always had it in here. So make sure you prepare this. This is really helpful. And yeah, those three things are the tips that I wish I could have gotten because I had to just learn it as I went. Um, as I progressed in the clinical nursing school, nursing program. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful for anyone who watches it. And let me know if you have any other questions. Leave your questions or comments in the comment section below, and I will try my best to answer them as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Bye.